Gunfire panic. Secret Service rushing leadership out. People diving under tables. And one guy just keeps eating his salad. No panic, no scrambling, no chaos. Just him eating his salad. Just barada. Now, ask yourself, is that guy crazy? Or is he the only sane one in the room? All right, let's get into this, folks. Buckle down. I'm back to doing live videos. I'm loving this. So I'm Peter Boykin, and this is Go Right with Peter Boykin. I'm your constitutionalist for liberty, and this is my perspective. You can check out articles at gorightnews.com, peterboykin.com, and the music at gorightmusic.com. So we're going to break down what really happened. I wrote an article quickly. I don't normally carry on quickly on everyday news. I usually like to dwell on it a little bit more. But when there's another assassination attempt, yeah, I'm going to talk about it. So we're going to break down what really happened, what it means, and why that viral moment might be telling us a lot more about America right now than people realize. Now, picture the scene. I know you've seen the videos. But picture the scene. One of Washington's biggest nights. The White House Correspondents' Dinner. Media elites, politicians, the president, the vice president, cabinet officials, high-profile guests. Way too many people that should have not been in the same room. All packed into one room. It's supposed to be about laughs and satire and ego and tradition. Do my horrible impression of Donald Trump, but Melania, I forgot my notes. I'm gonna get them. I'm gonna get them, media. I'm gonna get them. Just wait. Oh no. And then suddenly, chaos. Reports of gunfire. A loud boom. Secret Service moving fast. Leadership being rushed out of the room. And there, right in the middle of it all, you've got one man calmly sitting, finishing his appetizer. That man is Michael Glantz, a top agent at Creative Artists Agency. While everything and everyone else is diving under the tables, he's just eating like nothing's happening. Now, I got to be honest with you. Part of me actually laughs. But part of me also says, yeah, I might have done the same thing. I mean, I paid for the meal. I'm hungry. There's a dinner and a show. But I wouldn't have done it because it's the correct response, but because sometimes your brain doesn't instantly jump to panic. Sometimes, especially if you're used to the noise, the chaos, the sirens, and like the man said, he's being a New Yorker, that stuff happens all the time. He explained it. He said, I got a bad back. I didn't want to hit the floor because getting back up wouldn't be easy. I'd need help. And on top of that, he didn't want to lay down on a dirty hotel floor in a brand new tux. I don't blame him. He's probably figuring out who's going to pay for my tux, who's going to pay for this, who's going to refund me. Nah, I'm not doing it. And I'm thinking, look, that's pretty human. That's pretty human response. You're dressed up, you're at a major event, and suddenly you're being told to dive into a crowded ballroom floor. There's a part of your brain that pauses and said, wait a minute, hold on for a second. But here's where it gets interesting. Everybody online saw that clip and immediately said, this guy is nuts. I actually didn't. I was like, that guy's cool. That guy's cool. Duck, cover, get down. That's what you're supposed to do, right? But let me flip that for a second. What if he's actually the most rational person in that room at that moment? So that's probably Donald Trump. Think about what he's seen. Highly trained Secret Service agents doing exactly what they're trained to do. Not panicking, not guessing, moving with precision, clearing leadership, executing protocol. even though taking out Vance first instead of Trump, then again, Trump was kind of like doing the same thing from what I've been told, that he was kind of stubborn and didn't want to go. He wanted to see what was going on, and eventually they grabbed him, and I think he fell down a little bit, and he got back up. So he had to be a little bit more careful with Donald Trump. Probably had to make sure there was a clear path and everything. Now, in that moment, maybe that man's thought process was simple. He said, if this was an immediate catastrophic event, threat, right here, right now, I wouldn't still be sitting here. Now, that's not insanity. That's trusting in the system. Now, let me be clear. If security tells you to move, you got to move. You need to move. You don't ignore direct orders. And there's a difference between blind panic and measured awareness. What you saw in that room was panic spreading fast. And one guy who said, let me read the situation. He knows his physical limitations. He knows the environment. He sees professionals handling the priority targets. I mean, I think the director of FBI, Patel, I said he was sitting, staring in his own seat, kind of looking at the situation. He also knows these guys are doing their job. I need to stay put. I'm only going to get in the way. And I know people were criticizing, he's the director. He should be. No, he's the director. He needs to stay in the crowd, away from others, and stay protected as well, while the other people do their job. The primary threat's being addressed where it matters most. Meanwhile, the real insanity isn't the guy eating the salad. The real insanity is that someone got close enough to create the situation in the first place. That's the part people should be talking about. Because this isn't some small local gathering. This is one of the most high-profile events in the country. The president, the vice president, cabinet members, media leadership, all in one place. That is what security experts call a high-value convergence target. And yet, someone got close enough to trigger chaos by pretending to be the Flash. That's not just concerning. That's a failure. And then you look at the footage that comes out of it. Grainy, blurry, shaky. I think they had to use AI to enhance it. And you gotta ask, it's 2026. I know we always say that's a cliche, it's 2026, blah, 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 blah. But why does this still look like it was filmed on a potato? We're talking about venues hosting world leaders. Events that are known high-risk environments. Where are the layered camera systems? Where are the multiple angles? Where is the high-resolution, 8K, 3D, whatever you want to call it, real-time surveillance that should already be standard? We have the technology. Casinos use it. Casinos know who you are. They pinpoint you. They know who you are. They know everything about you when you walk in the door. That should be stuff that we should already have at these high-profile locations. Private industry uses it. High-end retail uses it. But somehow, at one of the most important political gatherings in America, we're still looking at footage that feels like it came out of 2005, probably more like 1995, 1985. I mean, that's not just, it should be like a JVC cam, like a camcorder. That's not just frustrating, folks. That's unacceptable. Unacceptable. Because surveillance isn't just about reviewing what happened. It's about preventing what could happen. Detection before proximity. And that brings us right back to the real issue. Security outside the room. Because once chaos starts inside, you're already behind. The job is to stop it before it gets there. It should be proactive, not reactive. It's too much reaction in the government and not enough proaction. The job's to stop it before it ever gets there. And in this case, something broke down. Now, thankfully, the suspect is in custody. We're not talking about a tragedy. And he's alive, so we can find out more information. I know some people are going, false flags, this is fake, this is fake. Hey, really, folks, think about it. Really? No. We are, though, talking about a system that worked. We're also not talking about a system that worked flawlessly, because it did not. We're talking about a system that got tested and showed cracks, major cracks. I mean, and this is the age where last year, September, we lost Charlie Kirk. Really bad security. He was assassinated. We should know better. We've had multiple attempts on Donald Trump's life. We should know better. This is what, the fourth they're counting? So yeah, people laugh at that guy eating his salad. But maybe they're missing the bigger picture. Maybe he's the calm in the storm. Maybe he's the one person in that room who had enough confidence to say, the professionals have this. Because the real madness isn't calm behavior in a chaotic moment. The real madness is normalizing security gaps at the highest levels of government. We shouldn't accept that. We shouldn't get used to that. And we definitely shouldn't wait for something worse before we fix it. One final zoom. We're going to zoom out a little further. This didn't happen. This doesn't happen in a vacuum. We're living in a time where political rhetoric is constantly escalated. I know somebody was arguing that our senator, our candidate, Michael Whatley here in North Carolina, our senator didn't bunker down against his opponent, Cooper, running for senator, and blame the Democrats and blame the crazy people and just attack them. That's not what we need to do right now. I think his answer was sensible with not having the full information. Because we're living in a time where political rhetoric is constantly escalated. People aren't just disagreeing anymore, they're demonizing each other. I know that people say, Donald Trump is demonizing the Democrats. I remember Obama talking about somebody get in their face, demonizing the right, the MAGA folks. I remember Biden multiple times calling us all sorts of names and demonizing us. And that was the left. The right does it too. Everybody isn't disagreement anymore. It's not just blue and red. It's not just like a game. Nobody's even playing the same game anymore. No sportsmanship. Everybody's demonizing each other. They're labeling opponents as enemies instead of fellow Americans. And then that kind of environment builds over time. It's tough for people. And some people want to make a mark in the world. And not everybody's making the right marks. When unstable individuals start believing they're justified in acting, that's the part nobody wants to talk about. But that's the part that leads to moments like this. So as a constitutionalist for liberty, I'll say it plainly. You cannot have freedom without security. You cannot have liberty if leadership can be targeted in predictable environments. And you cannot maintain a stable republic if we keep pretending these are isolated incidents instead of warning signs. So call him crazy if you want, but there's something to be said about the guy who kept his composure, trusted the system, and finished his meal. Probably waited for the main course. I know people were joking about the staff in the background, clang, 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 still picking up dishes. They know what's up too. While the real problem was happening all around that guy. He trusted the system. He finished his meal. Because you know what? Next time, it might not end with that viral clip. Next time, it might test whether the system itself holds. And that is not a gamble America can afford to take. Folks, I'm asking you to stay informed. Stay aware and stand for the Constitution. Visit GoWriteNews.com, PeterBoykin.com, GoWriteMusic.com. Check us out on social media everywhere. Rumble, YouTube. I need you to follow, folks. I need you to follow and like. I need them. The algorithm's not pushing it enough for me. Follow, like, share. Facebook. Join the groups. Twitter. Build it up. God bless everybody. This is Peter Boykin with Go Right.